They continue to risk their lives. It would be a shame that we do not respect their sacrifices.
Even so,
uninterrupted access to humanitarian operations guaranteed by all parties, supplies across conflict lines and across international development as well as peace efforts. However, more funding for Sudan's crisis border, we are also pledging nearly 140 million euros to respond to the impact of the 5 million euros. This sum goes towards humanitarian. And I believe this is a humanitarian of suffering of the people of Sudan.
عندما تعرضت المدينة رأيت في عيونها الحزين. Thank you, Your Excellency. Me, as I have fallen into these settings, I'm just helpless.
Remember, France is a permanent member of the UN Security Council. Okay, it's a member of the G7. So they are a very strong entity. And when you listened to his remarks, one, there has to be some intervention on the humanitarian crisis. So today's meeting brought together the entire European Union, global institutions, the UN and others, WHO, and all these together, even with the World Bank, have now made commitments to intervene on a humanitarian basis to the tune of $2 billion to try and help the people of Sudan. Maki, their target was 4 billion, but they got 2 billion. This tells you that the conflicts globally are overstretching many countries, and that is why it is becoming difficult to meet what the original target was. But nevertheless, 2 billion is very, very significant. It is also important what the President here said. He said that war crimes cannot go unpunished, okay? Because war crimes are being committed in Sudan by the warring parties. Two, they made it very clear that their vested interests from regional and non-regional actors who are fueling this conflict for their own selfish gains, they must be stopped. And then the corridors must be opened to allow for humanitarian assistance to Sudan directly, and also to the countries that are hosting the several refugees that are running. So why is Kenya here? Kenya is here, and we are standing in solidarity with our African brothers and sisters, because conflict in Africa is causing a lot of upheaval. And unless we also participate in resolving these issues directly as Kenyans, as Africans, as the AU, we are doing disservice to the continent. So President Ruto sent us here, sent me here to be part of this process. And we have made a commitment, a pledge of $1 million. It may not be as big as the other pledges, but it is the symbolism that goes with it, that we as Africans must also put effort, no matter how modest it may appear in comparison to others, to solve our own problems. So the President, as you know, has been nominated as the one to lead the reforms in the African Union. We in Kenya also are offering a candidate to lead the process of the African Union as chair. Now, what this comes out as is also, it is also important that we are part of the solution and not part of the problem. So that gesture is supposed to send that message that we as African countries must also come forward and support each other in a moment of crisis. So this session was therefore that significant, and we must not allow our brothers to continue suffering as we watch. A few days ago, the President gave examples of how the Sahel region has become a problem. And you see, if we are not careful, Sudan being as large as it is, crimes like human trafficking are going to take root there. Perhaps extremist groups, terrorist groups will take root there. And all these will start affecting the entire region in terms of commerce and security. Therefore, it is important that as Kenya, we champion the process of restoring order and the political process that brings together the civil society, the citizens of Sudan, so that they can be part of the process of reconstructing their country. The message that comes out of all this is that peace and security are extremely important to the well-being of our continent. And as we speak now, many countries in Africa are not in the right state. There's either unconstitutional means of government taking over, coups and counter-coups, and the ordinary civilians are suffering. So what comes out of here is that it's important for us to get together and resolve these issues. And you could see the gathering here brought in even the personal representative of the UN Secretary General, who also addressed virtually this conference, and so many other leaders. The leader of the Global Refugee Program, UNHCR, was here, and so many others, and so many ministers of either finance or, primarily ministers of foreign affairs and external development or aid while in this gathering. So I think it's a good boost to bring the spotlight back to Sudan and back to Africa on these matters. Your Excellencies, first of all, let me convey the compliments of President William Ruto to the Minister and the people of France, to the Minister Baerbock of Germany, to the European Union, and indeed to the very important players who are gathered here in the name of Sudan. In our own small way, we commit $1 million to this cause. It's an African challenge, and as Kenya and our desire to have peace in the region, we do commit $1 million. The second thing I want to highlight very quickly is that we are pleased that this attention has been drawn to Sudan. The people who have been evicted by the conflict may never know their homes again. Kenya has been host to refugees in 2 camps, Kakuma and Dadaab, for years. It has taken decades for recovery, and it has been at a great sacrifice to the people of Kenya to be able to support their brothers and sisters who have faced conflict. Therefore, what is happening in Sudan, ladies and gentlemen, needs extreme attention, because the new people, the young people, the ones who are displaced, will need support. The host communities will need support. They're going to carry a burden of supporting humanity for many years to come. Equally, it is important that the intervention is stepped up, and I'm happy to recognize that the word sanctions is now coming up in this room, because pressure must be brought to bear to the warring factions to come to the negotiating table. We cannot continue handling these parties with kid gloves or gloves on our hands, because they are not treating their people with gloves on their hands. So it is important that this message comes out extremely strongly. Lastly, inclusivity, the African Union, IGAD, the international community, all players must work together. We must converge our efforts into one unified position that will yield results. We know that the distribution of humanitarian assistance is going to be a challenge. We already can see the challenges in the Red Sea, where other conflicts are already beginning to disrupt the supply chains. So all these are issues that require extreme attention and urgent attention. And on that basis, I once again commend the conveners of this meeting for the very, very noble cause in making sure that the world does not forget Sudan. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency.